I am really, really excited to be here today. It's a Friday. Yay. I hope you're excited about the weekend as much as I am. Um, I have an event this weekend, so I'm really, really excited about it. So, I just quickly want to check on you. How are you doing? How are you doing? How's been your week? How are the people around you? How your family? How's work? How's business and everything? I really hope you're doing great. I really hope you're doing okay. And like I said a couple of sessions ago, for anyone who's been going through a tough time, I just want to send you lots of hugs and encourage you to hang in there. So my name is Suni Malo, and thank you for joining me today on another episode of Flow Finding. And if you're joining in for the first time, Flow Finding is a process of decision making that leads you to be, do, have, and create what you truly desire in your life. Okay, generally, so it's a process that helps you to be able to create those things that you truly desire, help you get to a place where you find flow in your career, in your relationship, and so on. So for the past episodes, sessions we have had, we have discussed a couple of aspects. We started with finding clarity, being able to define specifically what it is that you want out of life, out of your relationship, out of your business, out of your career, out of your marriage or your parenting, all of that, being able to clearly define what it is that you want, what it is that's success for you, what it is that is a goal for you or a goal that you want to achieve. Okay, so we did that. On another episode, we discussed resources that you may be underutilizing, and that helped us open our minds up to a bunch of resources that we have around us. Most times we're boxed in by what we do not have, that we neglect the things that we do have. So that session basically opened our eyes to seeing the resources that we have around us and being able to maximize them. Hello, the red shoe method. I know who that is. Hello, Omotsi. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Flow Finding. How are you doing? Let me know. Okay. So on another previous session, we had discussed easy steps that you can take actions to work on your goals that will help you to achieve them as well. So if you missed any of those episodes, feel free to hang in there, go to my YouTube channel, just check up Suni Malo and you'll find all of those past episodes, or you can simply just go on Instagram and see my past live videos and you would be caught up in no time. Hi, Amati. Thank you for joining in. I am doing great. I'm glad you're fine too. Okay, so now that we are caught up, and if you prefer to read articles and blogs instead, do find me on Medium, Suni Malo. You'll find articles relating to all of the subject matter that I have discussed here in recent times. Okay, so on today's episode of Flow Finding, we're going to discuss something pretty interesting, something pretty easy, but something that could create a big shift if you're able to pay attention and utilize it very well. Okay, sometime last week I was doing a research for a project I was working on, and somehow I ran into this platform where I got a lot of questions surrounding connections, relationship, and the questions went like this: how can I build a connection with the people around me? How can I connect with a group of people? How can I create a connection with my children? How can I connect a connection with my friends? It just spanned on around different aspects, but all revolving around how to create connection. So today, basically, like I said, we're going to talk about something pretty simple but pretty interesting as well. And we're talking about creating connections that matter. Creating connections that matter. Connections is basically creating a link, creating a safe space, a space of trust, a place where there is a flow between you and another person or a group of persons. Okay, so that's simply what this connection means. Now, I would like to say, before I dive into it, I would like to say briefly that we have written a lot of goals. We have planned a lot of things that we want to do. So one of the things that we don't pay attention to is that nobody is an island. And sometimes the only link missing between where you are and the goal you want to achieve is a connection, is a particular network, is a particular relationship that if you have, it would help you scale the gap to the other side. So I really hope that today you begin to pay attention to the relationships, to the network, to the connections that you are making on a daily basis, and also pay attention to the impact that this could have on you and the goals that you are looking to achieve. Nobody is an island. Nobody is an island, and everyone needs somebody, so hence the need to create connection. So I'll start by saying, when you're trying to build these connections, first sit and pay attention to what connections or networks are important to you at the time, or to where you are headed, to what you want to achieve. Okay, which connections, what relationships are important. Now, once you've been able to take out time to figure out which of these relationships are important, then you begin to take conscious and deliberate steps to build these connections. Now, I've gotten a few people say, oh, but I don't need to build connection. I don't need to make it happen. It naturally just happens. It should just occur. Now, sometimes, few times, this happens, that you meet someone and you hit it off, and then it's easy. It's like old lost friends, and it's very, very easy for you to flow. However, more often than not, you need to be deliberate about creating these connections and making them work. More often than not, you need to be deliberate about creating these connections, which means there is a bit of work to do, and you need to be willing to put in the work to get those results. Okay, so having said that, I like to make things easy. I like to make them into very quick processes that you can be able to do and repeat easily. So, what are some of the steps that you need, to practice? What are some of the things that you need to do to be able to deliberately build connections that matter? What are some of the steps that you need to take to be able to deliberately create the connections that matter? One of the first things that you need to be able to do, this is interesting, but it's easy. You need to be able to observe. You need to be able to observe, which means you need to be able to observe the person or people. You need to be able to observe what's going on with them physiologically. You need to be able to observe what's going on in their environment per time. Now, for this session, I would literally use an example of when you're trying to create an entirely new connection. When you're trying to create, you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're trying to build a relationship, build a connection, or build some form of rapport, okay? So one of the first things you need to do, like I said, is be able to observe and pay attention to what's going on with people. Most times we just see people and we just walk up to them, we jump in and continue the conversation from wherever it is that we have created in our minds, or whatever it is that we really want to say out. So we just pick it up from there. But we forget that we're meeting this person who has a whole lot of things going on for them, who is in a very different space. So you need to pay attention. Do they look like they're ready to have a conversation? It doesn't matter even if it's your kids. Do they look like they're ready to have a conversation? Is this a good place that you're meeting them? If you want to show, you have a proposal that you've been longing to show someone and you haven't been able to reach them for a while, and you walk into a cafeteria and you see this person having a conversation with maybe two more friends. Now, it's your duty, in as much as you're really excited to walk up to this person and share what it is that you have, you need to also pay attention what's going on around this person. Okay, he's having a conversation. Does this look like a conversation you can interrupt, or do you have to wait? All right, you have to be able to pay attention, to read, to observe all of these things going on before you decide particularly what it is that you want to do and the next step. All right, once you have observed where this person is at a time, you've observed what this person is doing, and if they are in a place to talk or not, then you take the next step, which is pretty much easy as well. Be able to meet this person where they are at. So for example, if you walk up to somebody and you see that this person is pretty much quiet or looks downcast or looks sad, you don't come in with all such excitement and want to jump into a conversation with this person. You really just want to go in quiet and sit beside the person or stand beside the person and just really see what's going on with them, and then you can start a conversation with them from there. So first I said is you need to observe and meet people where they are at. Observe and meet people where they are at. It doesn't matter how desperate you are. Sometimes you need to take the focus away from you to the person that you're willing to build a connection or a relationship with. You need to be able to move from this point to that point, okay? So that's the first easy step. The second thing that you need to pay attention to is, in building a connection that will matter in the long run, you need to learn to appreciate and compliment. Appreciate the person who is sitting across from you. Appreciate the group of people. For example, if you're making a presentation and it's a room full of people, you want to be able to appreciate the crowd for showing up, for listening, for giving you the time of day. You need to be able to appreciate the person. And if it's a one-on-one, you want to be able to compliment. Okay, compliment is basically looking at something someone does or something they're wearing or saying that is really great, and then you really tell them. Okay, it's a great place to start a conversation. It's a wonderful place to start a conversation. Oh, hi, I really love your hairstyle. Or, oh, I really love what you did with this project. It's perfect. Appreciate and compliment people. It's a great way of building and deepening your connection with people. Okay, be it individuals or groups. It's a very wonderful way of building and deepening your relationship with people. So the first thing I said was learn to observe and meet people where they are. Observe, meet people where they are. Then I said learn to appreciate and compliment people. Now the next one is pretty common, but it's something that not a lot of us do, and it is this: learn to listen intently. Learn to listen intently and ask genuine questions. Listen intently and ask genuine questions. Listening intently isn't about paying attention just because you want to have an answer to what they're saying, or you want to chip in, or you want to just quickly respond. It is also about just listening to understand. It doesn't matter if it's your child, you want to listen to them to understand. If it's your spouse, you want to listen to them to understand as well. And if it's a group of people and this person is having a question or is saying something to you, you want to simply pay attention. Listen to understand. And when you do not understand something, ask questions genuinely. Now, some of us have learned that the art of communication has to do with back and forth. So you need to ask questions so that this person thinks you're listening. Honestly, only ask genuine questions. And when you actually ask a question, pay attention. Pay attention. Thank you, Amansi. Thanks. Pay attention to what the response this person is giving you. People know when you're listening. They know. So you want to really, that's when connection is made, when you're intently listening. Listen to understand. Don't listen to chip in or listen to give an opinion. No, listen to understand. And I said, listen intently, right? So after you've done that, ask only genuine questions. And when you ask a question, please pay attention to the answer. Don't do that thing where you ask a question and then you answer it so that the person thinks you're intelligent, okay? And this brings me to something else you should pay attention to when trying to build connection. Move the focus from yourself to the person or the people in front of you. Worry less about you, what I look like, what I know, how smart I am, what I'm going to say. Move that attention to the people or the group in front of you. That's what matters at that point. Move the attention from yourself to the person or the group that you're trying to connect with. It's very, very important. Okay, let them know that you're there. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know that it's all about them for this moment. Okay, let them know that. It's very, very important. So I said, move the attention from yourself. Don't try to, when they're speaking, don't try to compare examples. I see people do this a lot when someone is sharing their experience and then you go, oh, me too, mine was worse. It's like you're trying to compare your level of your level of suffering or your level of challenges or something. Allow people, when you give them space to speak, really allow them to speak. When they're done, then you can take up from there. All right? So the first thing I said was observe, pay attention. To what's going on with people in their surrounding, in their physiology and all of that thing. Observe and meet them where they are at, right? Then the next thing I said was compliment and appreciate. It's very important in building a connection. It's important in sustaining and managing a connection. Compliment and appreciate. The next thing I said is learn to listen intently and ask questions genuinely. Okay, now this brings me to the next point, and it's a very interesting one. When you're listening, or when you're conversing, when you're communicating, when you come across someone you want to build a connection with, stay away from judging. Stay away from judging people, from giving them the face, from trying to fix. Sometimes even if it's your kid that is sharing something with you, they don't necessarily want you to fix it. Sometimes even if it's your spouse, they don't necessarily want you to fix it. They want to feel heard. They want to be listened to. They want to be understood. So don't simply just try to fix everything. Don't simply try to, oh, no, don't do it. Judge people and put them into boxes. No. People, when they feel judged, they withdraw. That connection gets cut off. And if this connection matters to you, then you are losing something. All right? Very, very important. You want to keep judgment away. You're going to run into people that believe things that are different than you do. You're going to run into people who think differently than you do. You're going to run into people who have a different way of seeing life. And that's okay. That's going to happen every other time. Just be comfortable with people having a different opinion than you. Be comfortable with that. You don't have to accept or agree with their own opinion or their belief. You just have to let them be. You have to just respect it and let them be. So even when someone is trying to explain something for you and then their way of thinking seems very different or maybe even ridiculous to you, you want to pay attention. You never know. You never know that maybe when you listen and understand, you may get or learn a lesson that would save you a lot of trouble. Okay? So stay away from trying to judge or fix people. So I hope you've enjoyed some of the tips I've shared. I have one last, but the most important I like to think of all that I want to say today on this quick session of flow finding. So you need to find your flow. You need to have connection. Connection is a very big part of it. Nobody's an island. If you stay in a house, you live with people. If you go to work, you work with people. If you go to a restaurant, you eat with people. You go to church or a mosque, you worship with people. There are always going to be people in your life. How do you build meaningful connections with these people? How do you make it count? How do you utilize it? All right? How do you utilize these relationships? A few weeks ago, I was going through, it was holiday, and I was a bit down. So I was just going through my WhatsApp status, and I saw one of my friends post something. He said, stop telling people to, maybe you've seen it too, stop telling people to work hard. Connect them to the people that helped you. So most often than not, when I see things like that, I am not very quick to respond. I just read it, I smile, and I laugh. But this person, I already had a good amount of connection with this person. We had good rapport. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to say something about this. So I said, in as much as it's great for other people to connect you, it's also important for you to have value to offer. That is how relationships work. That's how networks work. That's how connections work. You need to be able to bring something to the table. I can introduce you to the person who helped me, but if you don't have anything to bring to the table, how do you build this meaningful connection? All right? If you don't have any value to offer, and I don't like to think that somebody doesn't have anything to offer. We always have something to offer. Everyone has something to bring to the table. Okay, you need to be willing to invest in this connection. You need to be willing to invest in this relationship. You need to be willing to invest in this friendship, or whatever this ship is. You want to be able to invest in it. Your investment could be time wise, okay, it could be gift wise, it could be offering some of your services, especially if it's someone that it's a mentor or someone you're looking up to for assistance. You want to bring something to the table. Offer to edit their website, offer to help them set up their social media pages, offer to help them drive their kids off to school. Just offer them value. Value begets value. When you give value, you get value. And this brings me to the point where I say that it's high time we begin to see our connections as investments, our network as investment, that you need to be putting into it. You can't withdraw from an account that you don't deposit anything. So if you want to be able to get value from a particular connection you have with somebody, or a relationship, or a friendship, or whatever the situation is, if you want to get value, then be willing to put out value as well. It may not be in the same proportion, it may not be the same thing that this person brings to the table, but be willing to invest, be willing to put value into it, be willing to bring something to the table, be willing to offer something. You have something to offer. So it's not all about, oh, do it for me, can you help me, can you da. What are you doing for this person? Are you calling to check up on them when you don't need anything, or do you only check up when you need something? Are you there for them when they really need to be heard, or in those hard times, are you there for them? So it's important that if you want to build meaningful connections with people, you want to be able to build a bridge of give and take. You want to be able to bring value to the table as you get value from that relationship as well. So I guess this brings me to a summary of what we have talked about today on Flow Finding. Hey, Caros, thank you for joining in. We're just about to round up, so welcome. I talked about today building meaningful relationships or connections that matter, okay? And one of the things I said, remember the first thing I said, is you need to observe people. You need to pay attention to what is going on with a person or a group of people before you jump into a conversation or into a communication with them. You want to pay attention. The next thing I said is learn to appreciate and compliment the people that are in these circles with you. Appreciate and compliment genuinely. Next thing I said is learn to listen. Learn to listen. Listen intently. Listen intently. Don't listen to respond. Don't listen to have something to say. Don't always offer your advice or opinion unless you're asked, but just listen to understand. People know when they are heard. So when somebody tells you you're not listening to me, they mean you are not listening, even if your ear is like this. So you need to actually listen and ask genuine questions when you have one. All right. The next thing I said is don't judge people. Learn not to judge people or try to fix them. You're going to meet people who are different than you. You're going to meet people who believe something that is different from you. You're going to meet people with different points of view that it's unique to them, and some you may not agree, some you may not even understand, but it's okay. Learn to respect people. Unless they ask for your opinion, unless they ask for your thought, keep it. When they feel heard and they learn to trust you, then they would ask you, what do you think I should do? They will be open to what you have to say. So don't judge people. Make it okay to respect other people's opinions, respect other people's beliefs, respect other people's thought patterns and thought processes. Just respect it. Let it be. You don't have to agree. You just have to respect it. That's all that matters, right? So the next thing I said is to build relationships that matter, you need to learn to invest in your connection, invest time, invest whatever resources you have, invest anything that you have to bring to the table. Invest in your relationship, invest in your friendships, invest in your circle, whatever it is that you have going on. Invest. It's a give or take. Don't always expect to get people to do something for you, to get people to offer you something, you have to bring something to the table. And maybe you don't have money. It's not always about money. Invest your time. Reach out when you don't need anything. Call to check up on them. Call to check up on their kids. visit whatever it is that you can do. Ensure to do. Hi, Zach. Welcome to today's episode of Flow Finding, and thank you for being very consistent. I do appreciate you. Okay, so invest in your relationship. Bring value no matter how little. Bring value no matter what it is. Make sure that you're not just taking, you're also offering something. All right. So as you go out this weekend and as you go out this week, I want you to make an intentional effort. Connections are not just made, connections are created. You have to make it happen. Connections are created. So be willing to go out there this weekend, this next week, create connections. Like I said, nobody is an island, and you have no idea how big a role somebody you meet today can play in your life going forward tomorrow. Sometimes the only difference, the only gap between where you are now and where you want to go, the only gap between you and your goal may just be one person, one connection, one relationship, one network, one friendship. It could be. So people are important to us. People are important to our lives, our futures, our present. So you want to invest. I'm not saying invest in every general relationship like I started. I said invest in the connections that matter. Invest in those ones that matter to you. Then consciously decide the ones that matter and begin to put into it. Begin to build up from there. Begin to invest. It's like a bank account. You can't withdraw when you did not deposit. Okay? So that's it on today's session of Flow Finding, building connections that matter. I would really love to hear from you. Go out there, practically practice these few steps that I shared with you today. Learn to listen without interrupting, listen without giving an opinion. Just listen to understand. Be curious, ask questions. People know when they are heard. People know when they are listened to. So you really, really want to learn to do that. Appreciate. Okay, I want you to pick up that phone, go on social media, visit somebody, one of your friends. Just appreciate them for being there. Appreciate a particular connection that you've had in your life that has been consistent. Appreciate them, compliment them genuinely. Then begin to invest in this relationship going forward. All right, so this is it today on Flow Finding, and we will be back next Friday. By God's grace, on Flow Finding with something interesting. Connection, communication, it's a big conversation. So we may be doing a part 2 of this. Let me know what you think. And if you missed any of these episodes, feel free to find it on Instagram Live, or you can head on to YouTube and watch any episode that you have missed. So once again, thank you for joining in and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.